I'm not threatening you. Say one more word, and that's 30 days. 30 days.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Sovereign Citizens Hall of Fame with your boy TP. Today, we are courtroom hopping into two courtrooms, and that will be the courtroom of Judge Kalo Wilcox and also into the courtroom of Judge Brett Buckley, both out of the state of Washington. This is going to be my first time in both of their courtrooms, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they handle this sovereign citizen case. Another thing to note is this is a 4-appearance case. So what I am going to do is I am going to play 2 appearances on this particular video, and we will be sharing the next 2 on tomorrow on a separate video. So once again, I'm excited about being in Judge Wilcox's court and Judge Buckley's court for the first time. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into this proceeding.
Your Honor, this is Mr. Valentine, whose matters, I believe, are at the end of the calendar, numbers 26, 27, and he has declined counsel and would like to proceed on his own. I believe
so
my
Mr.
office had been this matter before.
Yeah, Mr. Valentine, you had an attorney appointed and then you didn't come back the way we needed to come back way back in March. So you got an attorney sitting there, an experienced criminal defense attorney might help you. Would you like to take the advantage of having Thurston County Public Defense represent you again?
No, ma'am.
Can you tell me why?
Because I would like to proceed sui juris, because I believe I have my best interests, and I don't think anyone else in this court has my best interests for me.
Okay. All right. Well, first, we're a couple of warrants. I'm going to turn to the prosecuting attorney, Mr. Abid, first, and see what their recommendation is on this warrant return, and then I'll turn to you. So I'll just allow you to represent yourself today as you want to. Mr. Abid?
Your Honor, the state would object to releasing Mr. Valentine, and the alternative, the state asks that the court set substantial bail on both of these matters. The first one, ending in the cause number 693, is a case, is an old case. Mr. Valentine, I'm seeing, has substantial failure to appear history. This is here's sorry, Your Honor. Mr. Valentine was on warrant status for a significant period of time. In March, the court issued a $15,000 warrant on each case. The court, Your Honor, or the state, Your Honor, asks that the court impose bail in the same amount as the warrants.
And this is first DUI from November of 2021, and then the second allegation, January of 2024.
Correct.
And were these, one, it appears, was an allegation of a breast sample of 0.14, and the other from 2024, do you know the allegation?
My notes show that the 2024 allegation was included a refusal.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Valentine, what the state's asking me to do is have you post about 30,000 cash or a bond bail, and consider those same restrictions that were on you before, that you show up at pretrial services, that you stay clean and sober, you stay law-abiding, you give UAs, you be on a device that's attached to your person to make sure you're not consuming alcohol. What do you have to say?
I object to that, Your Honor. I did make my best effort to show up at court, even when I didn't show up, because I was confused about the dates. The clerk told me the wrong date. I showed up. I gave the clerk a letter. I wrote a letter to the court, and I also wrote counterclaims and responses to the state attorney general's office, and I got no response from either. I went to try to squash the warrant. They told me that they wouldn't squash the warrant. They wanted me to either turn myself in, or they wanted to get me to pay more bonds. I have absolutely no problem showing up and representing myself. As far as the next thing. As far as these charges that are against me, I wanted to be clear that I am not a person. I'm not a legal entity. I'm a living man, and I want to enforce my constitutional rights. I have the right to drive without a license. I don't need a license. The Supreme Court has proven that many times. And it is also my understanding that this is a Nisi Prius court, and I would like to implement Rule Nisi. If the prosecutor has a valid contract between us, I would like him to produce it. If not, I do not wish to contract with any members of this court.
Mr. Valentine, I'm going to hold you on 15,000 cash or bond bail on each of these independently. So you'd have to post bond to be released, as I find that you're a risk to reoffend and a risk to commit, another DUI or vehicular assault or homicide, given the history while under the influence. So you're a danger to the community is what I'm finding. And you don't come back when we order you to come back, and you don't comply with court orders. So 15,000 cash or bond has to be posted on each one of these separately. And then you have to get yourself into pretrial services within 48 hours of release and have a scram device attached, stay clean and sober, stay law abiding in order to stay out of custody. No alcohol, no marijuana, no non-prescribed drugs, no bars or taverns. And don't drive unless you have a good license and proof of insurance. I'm going to set another court date. We would do this.
What jurisdiction is this court operating under, Your Honor?
Thurston County District Court here in the state of Washington.
Well, what jurisdiction are you trialing me under?
What jurisdiction? Thurston County District Court, Thurston County, state of Washington.
That's not what, is this under a common law jurisdiction?
I'll have you research all that yourself, sir. I'm not going to argue with you. I have jurisdiction over you and over this matter.
So is this court operating common law, ma'am?
I'm talking to my clerk. 1 second. And make it clear, good, that he's proceeding pro se and that we need to do.
I am not pro se. I'm a series jurist.
All right. You're proceeding without an attorney.
Did you take an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, ma'am? The supreme law of the
I
land?
sure did. I take it every time I get reelected, and I take it very seriously.
Will you be honoring that?
Very seriously.
Are you going to be honoring that
No,
oath
it's
today,
just
ma'am?
pre-trial, and then we'll get it set for confirmation and jury dates.
Are you honoring that oath today, ma'am?
I sure am. And I do it every day.
So you think I'm a person?
I sure do.
So you think I can be bought and sold and regulated? You think I'm a persona, that I live in the likeness of another?
I think you're a human being and you're covered by the laws of the state of Washington.
A human being and a person are two different things.
No, I'm not interested in semantics. So
I'm trying to get down to the facts, ma'am.
You can define things the way you want, but the law is not agreeing with you. All right, we're going to be back on September 20th, 1:30. We'll probably talk some more about your decision to represent yourself, and that's fine. But don't be surprised if whichever judge is there has another discussion with you about that. And at any time, you can ask the court to appoint an attorney. Anytime you can hire an attorney to represent you too. You're not prevented from that.
An attorney.
So we'll be back on September 20th, and you need to be back in court. If you're still in custody, we'll hear you in custody. And if you do post bond, you have an obligation to get into pretrial services within 48 hours and comply with them for sobriety monitoring. And that substance use monitoring program will pay for the scram device.
Can we change the venue, ma'am, for lack of jurisdiction?
Well, you'll have to file all your motions in writing, and then you serve them as well on the prosecuting attorney, and then we'll set motion hearings.
I don't have the resources to do that in custody, ma'am.
I think you do.
I don't. There's not much paper here. There's no computers I can use, no printers. They're not giving me post stamps on
Offering
my
you Thurston County Public Defense's assistance, I
to
could.
deny me the right to defend myself. You want me to hire someone else to do it? I'm of sound
I'm
mind
not
and body
denying that,
myself.
and I'm not going to argue with you, sir. So, at any time, we can talk about standby counsel,
ever
we can
want an
talk
attorney.
about counsel.
Everyone represented. I will continue to proceed sui juris.
All right, that's up to you. I'm doing that. All right, so we're done today, and those orders will be given to you in the jail.
All right, I don't consent to any of those orders.
Well, guys, we have come to the end of this first appearance between Judge Wilcox and Mr. Valentine. Before we courtroom hop into Judge Buckley's courtroom, I just wanted to say really quickly, as we can see with Mr. Valentine, same talking points, when it comes to the named entity, the living man. He said one of the reasons why he wanted to represent himself was because he felt like he is the only one that truly has his best interests at heart. Also, we see that he's dealing with a serious problem because when Judge Wilcox was explaining to him the things he would have to do if he was able to post bond, as far as sobriety monitoring and getting the scram bracelet, it just goes to show that whatever he's dealing with when it comes to this drinking situation, it's a real serious problem. It's a real serious problem. And something to note, I didn't know anything, and this just goes to show you how much I'm paying attention to things that's going on out here. I didn't even know they had such a thing as sobriety monitoring where you can wear a bracelet and it basically can tell, how much alcohol you're consuming. This is the first time I've heard anything about it, and it probably been around for years, but it just goes to show you how long I've been out of the loop of partying and this and that. But anyway, enough talk. I know you guys are ready to jump into the second appearance. We know that his case was continued, but let's see how he does before Judge Buckley.
And folks, I'm guessing you're all here for the same case since you're all sitting shoulder to shoulder. What case are you here for? Okay. And Ms. Moore, is Mr. Valentine, is that Mr. Valentine with you by chance?
Yes, it is.
This is Mr. Valentine,
Okay.
Your Honor, wishes to proceed without counsel.
Okay.
First of all,
Yeah, hold on. I'll let you know when I need to hear from you.
okay.
So Ms. Moore, has your office appointed somebody to replace Mr. Gaslin?
Your Honor, we were not appointed at the last hearing, and I'm not asking for appointment today as Mr. Valentine is declining representation. I have advised.
Okay,
I'll
take care of it. Thank you. Mr. Valentine, as Ms. Moore has indicated, you've told her you want to represent yourself. I'll tell you that's a huge mistake. I will treat you like you graduated from law school. I'm going to guess that because you're sitting there next to Ms. Moore, you have not graduated from law school, but you will be treated as if you had, which means I will expect you to know everything that I expect every lawyer to know. I will expect you to do the things that I expect every lawyer to do. I will expect you not to do any of the things that a lawyer is expected not to do. All that means that you haven't been trained in those areas, and yet I'm going to hold you to those standards. You would be making a bad mistake if you represent yourself, particularly because with two cases like this, you're probably looking at potentially up to 2 years in jail. So it's really important that you have good representation. If you were there, even if you had been trained as an attorney, I would say do not represent yourself. Lawyers know not to represent themselves. And there's a saying among lawyers that if you ever get charged with a crime, lawyers will say, it's a fool who represents himself. That is, even though they're trained to do that. So I would strongly recommend you not do that. You have the right to do it. I'll be very clear. I think you would be making a huge mistake should you do that. Do you have any questions about that? Do you have any questions about that?
Are you attempting to intimidate me under the color of law?
Do you have any questions for me? Other than that? No, I'm not attempting. I'm trying to make it very clear to you that I think it's a big mistake.
I'm ready to proceed.
Okay. All right.
First of all, I would like to address we the people, and I would ask that they would all stand for a moment.
No,
People of
just
special appearance.
no. We're not doing anything like that. We're here on a pretrial. You have a confirmation hearing set for the 18th of October. Mr. Valentine, you have anything to say about that status? Otherwise, we're just going to close the hearing and move to that date.
I'm going over judicial notices that I've submitted to the court.
Okay. This is not a motion hearing. This is just a procedural hearing. And we'll just close out this procedure or this proceeding and confirm that your next court date is the 18th of October. If you wish to file a motion, you're going to have to do so in the appropriate fashion and get it before the court. It's one of those things that I've told you. It was why I advise you not to proceed representing yourself.
I have filed judicial notices with the court.
Okay, thank you. We'll set a motion hearing and have consideration of those. Thank you. Folks, I don't want to hear any comments. None. So 18th of October is when he's due back.
And that's set for trial confirmation, Your Honor?
It's set for trial confirmation.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Amy, if you'll make a note to.
Well, I object to that. You're not allowing me.
We'll note your objection. Thank you.
Well, guys, we have come to the end of this second proceeding. And as we can see, Mr. Valentine, he has some of the same talking points. One thing we see with Judge Buckley, though, he really went in on Mr. Valentine representing himself. You know, he told him, listen, if you're going to represent yourself, just like many other judges, I'm going to treat you just like any other lawyer. I'm going to treat you just like you went to law school. But he really advised against it to the point of where he harped on it so long that Mr. Valentine, you know, pretty much accused him of you know, trying to intimidate him, which obviously he wasn't, but just being honest with him and also telling him, like, listen, there's seasoned lawyers that know the law, that know better than to represent themselves. But yeah, this case is definitely, it's a lot to deal with. You know, it's a lot to watch. This guy, he's very adamant about representing himself, definitely using some of the same talking points that we hear all the time. But I'm very interested in seeing what happens in his third and fourth appearance, which will be coming up tomorrow. So until then, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate you guys subscribing, liking the video, sharing the video. It has been a huge blessing. So with that being said, I'm not going to hold you any longer. This is Sovereign Citizens Hall of Fame. And for now, guys, Sovereign Citizens Court is adjourned.